enterprises within our enclave. I think Ghana has the potential to be the industrial hub for the whole West Africa, because I'll be traveling around 8 countries across the West Africa, and Ghana is very peaceful. So currently, there's a lot of the companies looking for export is coming to Ghana because of the peace, and because of some maybe tariff between US and China and some other countries, and some companies from Vietnam, Indonesia, China, they are all running to Ghana now. So we get 6 companies last month. One is in solar panel, one is solar battery, another 2 companies is furniture, and also some other stuff. So the exportation is really, the company is large scale and looking for export, they are really coming. And it's a very good opportunity for now, for us to catch them to come. In the meanwhile, the textile business, like DTRT, I'm very strongly agree with her that Ghana can be a center for export in this garment sector, because it creates so many jobs in a short time period. We also get 2 companies, which is like Chenfu and Juding. They are also exporting to US and Canada. They can have like 2 of them. They can have employ more than 6,000 local employees, and currently they have 800 now, just in the last 4 months. Right. So Ghana really have the potential. And I have one question is that, so for the ordinary companies, for they're coming and engaging in this 24 economy, so is there any incentives? Is it like before I think in the last administration they have like one district, one factory or something like that? And for this 24 economy, we are expecting something special to come out.
Very well.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, when they say Omampeni and then especially the trade ministry, or more percent 24-hour economy no a year juma. Then when she say no na woman ebe pensi mu at say aban business community ni na support sebe ya jumedie na omde ba na beboe na hwemu a 24-hour economy no de ehuni pa na negue ye ne a ye de be ya juma ene onkika ntite omo bedan na die no eye Tuesday ye be na say yes o mampani ebe me ya ebe yi asitre na ya wa pay support ni na ye de alanche na ye tinkro bi ena eton ne niema ena wakase me de me nkwa na mo niema no nti me tubo no nti eno enya sa na tie nti esanse ye wa kansi mu no nkeka no ebi de beba fom ebi de akosoro nti mo so amoto ade no kodwo mu a de ne de ebo den no wa panishe no on to ma no wa ko de ne de efo no wa koto no wa reward no se mo so mo yesa na ebe mo a mo ne ma bo akosoro no wo so ebete so no ma enso etime di nti ya na ya piu ene ye kabazisi ade wo hwe se de sika no esiko from there na obi na beka se obi entine ne ma so because wo gina ho no ma obi beton ne de na wo de aka nti trend no a very good. The market forces will determine these prices at the appropriate time. And that's it. Okay, that's what that's.
Hi, this is Jackie, and you are watching Maurice TV.
They spoil the party when it's getting interesting. So let me just wrap it up. We will maintain economic stability. We are determined to maintain fiscal discipline to make sure that we don't upset the macro. Because it's unfortunate. I mean, you are investors, you invest your money, but you don't control how the economy is run. And so you have somebody comes, either overborrows, overspends, and then suddenly the economy, macroeconomy is unstable, and it affects you directly. And so we need to put in place the things that will make sure that whoever manages the economy is fiscally responsible, so that we don't create the situations where you are not able to predict what is going to happen in the economy. Right now, we're under a program. Yes, when I did the CEO Summit, I talked about our meeting the targets of the program and exiting next year when the program ends. This morning, I was reading social media posts, and somebody says, no, we should never come out of the IMF program because it makes governments disciplined, so we should just continue the program forever. And I said, no. Even when we exit the program, we'll still be under Article 4. That allows IMF to be able to come and make an assessment of how we are doing in terms of our management of the economy. So we'll still be under Article 4 of the IMF program. We are doing a correction this year. Last year, there was a slippage. Instead of a surplus on the primary balance, we went negative 3.9. And so the adjustment we're making in this year's budget is from negative 3.9 to positive 1.5. And so far, we're on track to achieve it. We might even overshoot the 1.5. By the mid-year review, when the minister comes, we'll see what the first half numbers are. And based on that, if we have to make any adjustments to create more fiscal space, to invest in infrastructure, to make things better for you, it's something we'll look at. Presidency this morning, I know you're all busy, accomplished leaders in your respective sectors, and your time is very valuable. I therefore sincerely thank you for honoring this invitation, and I promise to be brief and focused in my remarks. This meeting is a crucial part of our national reset. It concerns the rollout of the 24-hour economy policy, specifically the 24H Plus program and the accelerated export development framework, which many of you have already adopted and supported in many ways. Let me begin by offering a clear lens to understand the 24-hour vision. It's both a destination and a program. As a destination, the 24-hour economy policy reflects a state where Ghana's productivity and capital utilization will become so high that we'll have to operate in multiple shifts across day and night, maximizing the return on infrastructure, on human resources, and innovation. This idea captured the public imagination during the 2024 campaign and remains at the core of our drive towards full employment and inclusive economic growth. As a program, the 24-hour economy demands a deep and deliberate restructuring of our productive economy. We must re-engineer our production systems from top to bottom, boosting volumes and diversity and shifting from reliance on raw materials towards the export of value-added products, wholesome foods, pharmaceuticals, garments, industrial inputs, and digital services. Earlier this month, I received the complete draft of the 24-hour economic policy from my advisor, Mr. Guta. I have reviewed it, and I'm confident we now have a coherent and actionable framework with which to deliver the results. An effective catalyst for the 24-hour economy policy is a stable macroeconomic environment, which we are achieving through close coordination between the monetary and fiscal authorities. But the program goes beyond macroeconomic stability, which already, like I said, is being pursued by the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana, and focuses sharply on production, enterprise, jobs, and exports. At its core is an integrated value chain transformation approach. This approach addresses structural bottlenecks not in isolation, but comprehensively through infrastructure, finance, land systems, logistics, and skills development. One of its boldest proposals is the development of the Volta Lake Economic Corridor. This corridor, centered on the Volta Lake and the Volta Basin, will become a national production zone and logistics span. The plan envisions cultivating over 2 million hectares of arable lakeside land, revitalizing the fisheries sector on the lake, and creating a chain of industrial parks that produce goods for domestic and regional markets. To support this corridor, the lake will be activated as a transport highway, moving food, people, and goods more efficiently than our congested roads allow us to do currently. New floating assets, lake ports, and long-term investment partnerships will be developed in coordination with the Volta River Authority and the private sector. We must move beyond just hydropower and unlock the broader economic potential of this beautiful national asset. But the Volta Lake Corridor is only part of the broader plan. The 24-hour economy program identifies priority value chains across all regions, and these include agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, textiles, light manufacturing, tourism, digital services, and the creative economy. Each one has specific bottlenecks, and the program outlines targeted solutions. On infrastructure, the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund will lead efforts to develop industrial parks, logistics hubs, and upgrade transport links. On financing, the Development Bank of Ghana and the Venture Capital Trust Fund will scale up value chain finance for SMEs, cooperatives, and agribusiness in priority sectors. On land, we will develop local land banks, zoned, titled, and investment ready to reduce any delays and uncertainty to investors. On skills, the Aspire 24 sub-program of the 24-hour economy policy will be launched to train young people for shift-based work, digital roles, and entrepreneurship. And on incentives, we'll introduce tax reliefs on machinery and inputs, fast-track regulatory approvals, and export facilitation. The 24-hour economy program is not a top-down model. It is decentralized. Each district will establish its own 24-hour implementation task force, housed within the district and municipal assemblies, and aligned with our local economic development policy. This decentralized approach will allow each region to define and lead its path of industrial transformation based on its natural comparative advantages. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer just a vision, it is a structured, sequenced, and inclusive plan, and its implementation is beginning. I've authorized the 24-hour Secretariat to begin detailed program design and investment packaging. The draft program document will be released publicly on Tuesday for broader consultation, and I will invite you to help us finalize it. We will officially launch the 24-hour Plus program in July this year, most probably on Ghana's Republic Day, which is a symbolic day for a bold new national agenda. To guarantee institutional stability, I'm working with Parliament to establish the 24-hour Economy Secretariat as an independent authority, reporting directly to the President and backed by legislation. This will ensure strong coordination, investor confidence, and delivery continuity. Let me end by returning to where I started, that is gratitude. To thank you for your input, for your partnership, and your patience. And thank you for believing in Ghana's ability to reset, retool, and rise to the occasion. The 24-hour economic policy is not just a policy, it is a national compact for shared growth, for decent jobs, for competitive exports, for thriving local economies, and long-term prosperity. We now have to move to the hard work of delivery together. Let us make Ghana a nation where opportunity never sleeps. I think that the issue raised by Guinness Ghana is important because we can increase productivity, but if we have porous borders and people keep smuggling in, goods from our neighboring countries, it will make nonsense of what is happening. So the 24-hour Secretariat takes cognition of that, and so it will include how we surveil our borders. Even though the borders are porous, they are now digital technologies for maintaining border surveillance and being able to stop smuggling. And so we need to move our border surveillance to the next level. And so we take recognition of that. A lot of people route their goods to our neighboring ports in our neighboring country, offload into warehouses there, and then they smuggle in Kia truck by Kia truck by Kia truck by Kia truck. And so we need to tighten that, because then it makes nonsense of the productivity of our own people. And so you can be sure that it's something that we will zoom in on with regards to the 24-hour economy policy. Building material standards. I don't know this particular case of iron rods, but I know that with cement, they have different cement products for different things. Now, if you go and take a foreman who doesn't know what cement is meant for what, and he goes and builds your house with cement that is meant for foundation, casting foundation, or casting concrete, definitely you have that problem. And so being able to get the right architects, the right building supervisors who know exactly the material that you need, I think is going to be important. I think that, some of the iron rods produced locally are high quality. If you want the correct tensile strength, you can test it and make sure that it is the correct product that you need for whatever you're doing. But standards are important, and I agree with you that made in Ghana products must meet the right standards so that they are able to compete in our market with anything that is imported. The Volta Lake Economic Corridor is a vision that our first president had. He built Akosombo not only, for hydropower, but he built it to be a multi-purpose corridor to provide economic advantage for this country. We have not utilized it since then. It's a source of fisheries. The lands on the lake, adjoining the lake, are arable and good for agriculture, abundant water and all that. And so this is a time for us to formulate it as a policy that goes beyond government, that we're going to take advantage of this natural possession that God has given us in order to boost Ghana's productivity and create prosperity for our people. Happily, we've built a rail line from Tema to the shores of the lake. And so it gives us an opportunity to be able to bring any products that are produced along the economic corridor by train straight to the harbor for export, if they have to be exported, or to bring them down to the markets in Accra, to supply our people who sell our items. And so it is an idea whose time has come, and I think that we will incorporate it not only in the 24-hour economy policy, but also in any national development vision that we're coming out with. The Constitution enjoins every president 2 years into his term to present to Parliament his vision on, national development. And so we have the National Development Planning Commission working on it. And I have said that it should be a long-term vision that is segregated into chewable bits, and it should be one that is consultative and bringing everybody on board so that we have a common national development vision, not one where as soon as a new government comes, it's thrown away, and then that government comes with another vision. We can tweak it for who we are, social democrats or capitalists, whatever, we can do that, but not just jettison the vision and replace it with another one. That is what creates the start-stop that Ghana has been going through over the years. And so this is a vision that I think would catapult our country, and we can work together with the Volta River Authority. But to add to that, one of the major issues which was raised earlier is the issue of land. And I can empathize with the one who spoke. I've been through it myself. I have a farm at Akuse. I bought it from somebody who had finally reached the limit of his patience, and he decided to sell it and go back to his country. It was from Netherlands or somewhere. And so I bought it, and I've been developing the farm since then. It was only after he had left I found out there was litigation on the land. And so I sent my farm manager to clear part of the land, and people came with cutlasses and guns. I mean, you can imagine if it was a foreign investor, you know. But I stood my ground, and I said, okay, there's litigation, let's wait and see. And this was, I acquired the farm, I think, in 1999 or 2000. It's a 19-acre, almost 20 acres. The litigation ended just 3 years ago. And unfortunately, the family from which the Obroni bought the land lost the case. So the new family came and said, okay, we have won, so you have to come and pay for the land again. So I ended up paying for the land again. They came and measured it. I paid a second time for a farm that I had bought. And I think it's a common experience for a lot of investors. And so the intention of the 24-hour economy policy is for government to acquire the land and compensate the landowners and make the land available to investors as and when they need it. I think that's what we are contemplating. With regards to garments, and I'll take Salma's and yours together. Garment is one of the areas that has been targeted under the 24-hour economy policy. We know the potential for jobs that it can create. And I have seen DTRT before in my first coming to be biblical. I visited your plant and I saw the potential. We even started a program of assigning Kayaye to DTRT to train them into textile and garment workers. And many of them became very proficient, and I'm sure they still form part of your workforce. So we know the potential for creating employment, and so your sector, the garment sector, will be one of the priorities that we look at. We currently are looking at the issue of the tariffs that the Trump administration is slapping on different countries. We were slapped with 10%, which is the lowest. But if you look at the cumulative tariffs, I think it pushes us much higher. So it's something that we need to look at. So I know the Minister of Trade and Agribusiness are coming out with a policy paper and engaging the U.S. administration, you know, in respect of our tariffs. We also import quite a lot of things. We import vehicles, automobiles from there. We import wheat, and we import soya bean and several other products from the U.S. So we're looking at the products that we import from them and looking at the tariff buildup on their products and then comparing it with the tariff buildup on ours so that together we can negotiate something that is amicable. But we're hoping that in September, when we go to the U.S. for the General Assembly, the annual U.S.-Africa Summit will take place. And I believe that African leaders are going to make a push for the renewal of AGOA so that we can continue to export duty-free, tariff-free into the U.S. market. We are looking at import substitution under the 24-hour economy, and key, you know, products like oil palm, rice, poultry, and all of that are some of those that we're going to facilitate production of so that we can cut down the huge import bill that we currently have. We have a lot of arable land that can support another 200,000 hectares of oil palm so that we can produce enough to feed the factories, Olam, Wilma, and others that are producing refined vegetable oil here, both for the Ghanaian market and for export to our neighboring countries. We can even export raw palm oil. Nigeria imports a lot of palm oil from Malaysia and Indonesia. And so if Ghana is producing more than we need, we can export the balance to Nigeria. And so these are, you know, products that we will target. Rice has become a staple in Ghana. When we were young, we used to eat rice only at Christmas and Easter. Now everybody eats rice every day. And so we must boost production of rice. And we do have the comparative advantage to produce rice. And I believe that we'll be able to expand production, because if you go to Vietnam and Thailand and others, all the land they can put under rice production they have put. They don't have any extra land to expand rice production. So the next area for expansion of production of rice is Africa. And Ghana has a comparative advantage in terms of land that is suitable for rice production. And so it's one of the areas that we'll look at. Poultry, chicken, akoko is something. Christmas, they used to let us chase, catch a fowl and bring it, and it will be slaughtered and we'll have a Christmas dinner. Today, that's chicken is all coming from the United States, from Brazil and other places. And yet we can produce enough chicken for ourselves. And so it's part of what we're going to look at. The CD recently has appreciated in value, and it is the result of close coordination between the fiscal and monetary, between the central bank and the Ministry of Finance. And it is based on the forex auction and demand and supply. What happens is the Bank of Ghana does the forex auction, finds out how much CDs are in the system that need forex for to pay various bills and others. And those who want the forex bid on the auction, and the bank strikes the average and takes the CDs and makes the dollars available. And so it's not like somebody is deliberately forcing the dollar down. It is the result of the bids that is finding what the true value of the CD is. And I believe that it will arrest where the true value is based on the issues of demand and supply. And so I don't envisage that some people say it will come to one CD, $1. No, that's extreme. We'll virtually collapse our export sector if that happened. But I think that the governor of the bank has an eye on it. And if it goes below a certain floor, I'm sure that the Bank of Ghana will make an intervention to make sure that it remains within a certain band that gives the true value of the CD against the other foreign currencies. So don't panic, and if you haven't changed your dollars already, I don't know how much further lower it will go, but the governor has an eye on it, and we'll see how things go. The 24-hour secretariat will be a coordinating. It's not going to be going out there and implementing itself. It's going to be a facilitator. It's going to create the environment for you, the private sector, to take advantage of the policy and increase your productivity. And so you were talking about financing and all that. Indeed, this year we didn't make any provision in the budget for the 24-hour secretariat because they are able to raise the financing themselves. And so they are on their own, they're paying their bills, and they're running their office, they're doing their coordination. And I'm sure that is not going to be a huge drag on the budgets of the government. If it comes to financing and other things, they're going to leverage, like I said, the Development Bank of Ghana Venture Capital Fund. If it comes to infrastructure, the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund is there. It's going to be involved in drawing electricity into the Volta Lake Economic Corridor. We'll let the Ministry of Energy, Electricity Company, VRA, pool electricity to the zone. There is a private developer who is working on an inland port with the International Finance Corporation in order that we can move products up with the rail. It brings it to the port and loads it. The old Akosobo port, the rail didn't go there because they said the vibration of the train could disturb the dam, so they took it onto the other side, Mpakadang. There's a 7-kilometer to a place called Esikuma, which is a natural inland port. An IFC and a private developer are looking to develop an inland port there. So I envision, next to it, a whole area of land where industries can work because they'll have the advantage of the port and the rail line to bring their goods down. So we'll see how that goes. Quality of human resources. We have to upskill our young people, and that's why we set up the Million Coders program. It is ongoing. We're giving them skills in software, coding, and hardware, networking, and all that. We can train them to a certain level, but private sector also has to take them up and give them the additional training that is necessary to suit your demands. And so I believe that is something that we can do. We are talking of 1 million coders. it's already oversubscribed. We have over 140,000 applications, and we're bringing them in batches and training them and graduating them. So I'm sure that if you look among those who are graduating from our coders program, you'll find some people who are suitable to do the kind of work you want. Military training is about to start. Some of our national service people will be enrolled to go to the barracks and have some military training in order that we can have some more discipline in our attitudes and, you know, the way we carry ourselves. And so that's something we're working on. Ease of doing business, we deteriorated over a while. Ghana used to place first in West Africa on the World Bank ease of doing business. Unfortunately, over the years, we retrogressed, and so we need to recapture that. And I believe that in the manifesto we talked about exemptions for plant and machinery that are especially targeted at the agricultural sector. It's something that we have to bring the appropriate legislation, and that is something that the Secretariat would advise us on. So that if somebody is bringing a whole plant to set up a factory to produce in Ghana, the person should be able to bring in the plant without any hassle and get the necessary exemptions for it. You have brought in under exemption on the open market. And so if anybody is doing that, we must arrest them and apply the sanctions. If you bring iron rods in as a mining company under exemption, you're supposed to use it yourself. You cannot sell it on the market. And so if you have any evidence of that, if you let us know, we'll deal appropriately with whoever is doing that. And so we'll try and protect our own and make sure that your businesses flourish. The Secretariat will be autonomous. It will be independent. It will have all the authority that it needs to be able to push things through so that it's not bogged down in bureaucracy, and it will report directly to the President. I think I have about 3 or 4 more. We will maintain macroeconomic stability, I can assure you of that. And
US President has been waiting. US Ambassador has been waiting for the President.
okay. They spoil the party when it's getting interesting. So let me just wrap it up. We will maintain economic stability. We are determined to maintain fiscal discipline to make sure that we don't upset the macro, because it's unfortunate. I mean, you are investors, you invest your money, but you don't control how the economy is run. And so you have somebody comes, either overborrows, overspends, and then suddenly the economy, macroeconomy is unstable, and it affects you directly. And so we need to put in place the things that will make sure that whoever manages the economy is fiscally responsible, so that we don't create the situations where you are not able to predict what is going to happen in the economy. Right now, we're under a program. Yes, when I did the CEO summit, I talked about our meeting the targets of the program and exiting next year when the program ends. This morning, I was reading social media posts, and somebody says, no, we should never come out of the IMF program because it makes governments disciplined, so we should just continue the program forever. And I said, no, even when we exit the program, we'll still be under Article 4. That allows IMF to be able to come and make an assessment of how we are doing in terms of our management of the economy. So we'll still be under Article 4 of the IMF program. We are doing a correction this year. Last year there was a slippage. Instead of a surplus on the primary balance, we went negative 3.9. And so the adjustment we're making in this year's budget is from negative 3.9 to positive 1.5. And so far we're on track to achieve it. We might even overshoot the 1.5. By the mid-year review, when the minister comes, we'll see what the first half numbers are. And based on that, if we have to make any adjustments to create more fiscal space, to invest in infrastructure, to make things better for you, it's something we would look at.
Captains of industry, development partners, distinguished guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in Ghana's economic resetting. This is a bold step forward as we engage key players in private sector to set the tone for the 24-hour economy policy, a cornerstone of our manifesto, and a defining vision for inclusive, sustainable growth. This policy is more than a promise. It is a strategic call to action. It envisions a Ghana where productivity knows no bounds, where industries operate at full potential across time zones, and where opportunities are not confined by the clock. It is about reimagining our economy to be dynamic, competitive, and future-ready, powered by innovation, driven by enterprise, and built on resilience. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 24-hour economy policy is anchored on many pillars. Two prominent pillars are, however, manufacturing and agribusiness. These sectors hold immense potential to create jobs, stimulate exports, and deepen our industrial base. By extending operations beyond traditional hours, we unlock efficiencies, boost outputs, and strengthen our global competitiveness. Real transformation demands unity of purpose. This policy will be implemented through a whole-of-government approach, ensuring every ministry, department, and agency works in harmony to deliver coherent, coordinated results. It calls on public and private sector leaders to forge strong partnership and act with agency and ambition. Through initiatives such as Made in Ghana policy, Feed the Industry, Rapid Industrialization for Jobs, Agro-Processing for Economic Expansion and Jobs, we are championing local enterprises, stimulating innovation, and positioning Ghana as a premier destination for value-added and value-extension manufacturing and technology-driven growth. To our esteemed investors, entrepreneurs, and development partners, the time to invest in Ghana is now. The 24-hour economy offers not only a framework for continuous productivity, but a platform for sustainable jobs. Together, we can harness the benefits of Ghana's strategic location, youthful population, and untapped potential to build an economy that thrives not only during the day, but around the clock. Let us rise to the moment. Let us be bold in our vision and relentless in our execution. And let us work together to build a prosperous Ghana that works for everyone, every hour of the day. Mr. President, on this note, I present to you the creme de la creme. These are giants in the industry sector. They hold the heart and spine of our economy. I finally welcome all of you to the presidency, and the president is indeed grateful for your presence. I thank you very much.
Yeah, when I say Omampeni and especially the trade ministry, or more percent 24-hour economy no a year juma. When she say no na womoni ebe pensi mu ati say aban business community ni na support sebe ya jumedie na omdimba na bebue na hwemu a 24-hour economy ne de ehuni pa na neguye ye ne a ye de be ya adwuma ene onkika ntite omo bedan na die no eye Tuesday ye be na say eye say o mampani ebe me ya ebe yi asetre na ya wa pay support ni na ye de alanche na ye hu details no so a ye to hu anamon papa ye be ye na aboa omano kanko eni ye ni ye kanko so anything like oh 24-hour economy ni there on say ni na ni abanche say a obeje she say na say we share say the economy is equal na the enabling environment near riper at the afraid be productivity see you betimi a produce na you no buy no door so near to no na say no buy no you competitive we buy employ nipa bebre so we demand the year kese na we enuma na say we be run the shift be up to even into the night and all that. That's all the 24-hour is hands-on productivity. See, you're not buying that, you're not buying kese na just enam pudu na ye nintino ama adwuma adoso ya ye adwuma ama se de o pa se adwuma no be koso ato am ye na ya ye nti ehun hye no na omo bedan die na emo de banso a advantage bi ewom bia no yenso be take is advantage no opportunities a ewo incentives a omo create di amaye ene ye hwe animu se eba na se beboa ye na ye dimirika na asom na ye de apia omen kanko na niema do sopo asi nya na ye self sufficient de bia ya de se ekra niema dodo emsa 24-hour economy ba na yetimi ye ni ansa no adwuma ye adwuma ye nkuayo ye manufacturing say ye dwadie kura na edi ni ho keka na bibia etumpon a obia ensa bekona no ye be employ nipa dodo na oma no enya ne ntoma papa bi afra. They say no correct na obia no me start here because obia ente ne amombo na no ente ne ma so am say na amanfo opposite kakra because they no mo busa say as me two man pamurika kakra but now we feel man nya stability kakra na we share reduction in the forest rate na significant na say kwa ni mo yi ntina me de betu dwa say adwadie na ye di no ye ne ye consumers no ene edibo mom ne from customers consuming public no omo kwa ahochire mu a emwa yen ntisi enya game bia na say ska no ahoden akosoro ne enya ho mfaso na se ye ne omo eche eno so na omo a especially importers no de omo a start etu ho na omo a nipa bebre eniema abo aba fom na omo a what challenge ne tobeton koto for no ono de money dollar no eni adwadie bia enti na de aye no this what me ton ne ma dada na o to ye no no beto fofra eno na wo mo so ne doso o ye be 80% da bia no mu hu results no eni ye no say wo ntimi nko wholesaler no ho enkoto ade because ono no ton ma retailers no and anything ama as a enter nti me also me minister share and make say hwe be ebedu abosom bi no de na niema assettle kama no bia say ye tokoso ye enya gains no say de enya ndia na say ye nya ho sunsan so pa your competitive market. I can't see any in Jomo. Nipa bibri. Also, you need the sellers market. Woko abricha, your sellers market. Obagana, your consumers market. Consumers market, you know. Say, over call to my juice, was a nipa samu bibri, no wako do near mano. Enti, obian one more, obit me, ye ni monopolistic market, say, in the quantum clubby and a ton in Yama. And wakasemi de minkwana mo near manenti, me two bonum. Nti eno enya sa nete nti esanse ye wakansi mu no nkeka no ebi de beba fom ebi de akosoro nti mo so amoto ade no kodwo mu a de ne de eboden no no apanish no on to ma no akọ de ne de efo no no akoto no awrewod no se mo so mo yesa na ebe mo a mo ne mabo akosoro no mo so ebete so no enso etime di nti no kure wom ni say I started responding. Now the wo hu akonya no ebetimi ateso the only hu akonya se bia woto ne dia boden se no kureni cause wono no nipa bebre so etesa ade se woto na boden na nsia kra na bia wo yi ne ma no we se wonte so se ono de woteso enyeyi ana obi nso won so a eba efufuo ya si ye matede wakoto de ato ne ma nti ono enya ho mfaso nti obi ntwen obi I can see nti ano so mo konso a mo nkodo sodwa no na mo nye mo adwen se adwadifo ye timo odi nti ka bibia se I started respond kra mo nti ase nti mo nkɔhwe dwa no bo se enema no bebre I started eba form don't say a market forces in the determine price normally but the ya be ye no e ya pure keke on say dana dollar no cost ro kese pa na ya yemhye no ye ka se wo ton ne ma no anton ne ya obi a obeboka enti ya na akoya futu ba ye ni price control regime a ye bega se Guta bank ran ni hu to me so obetimi a kire obi se chinchina ton woni ma se enti ya na appeal and ye ka ba se ade we fese de sika no esi ko from there na obi na bega se obi entine ne ma so because we gina ho no ma obi beton ne de na wo de aka enti trend no very good to market forces so na no will determine these prices at the appropriate time.
Thanks for watching.